Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng being told by the Judicial Conduct Committee to apologise and retract the comments that he made about the situation in the Middle East. And in particular, it seems the committee was very concerned about what they referred to as brazen defiance of the committee's authority, because he had said he would never retract those comments. And because Eli Benjamin is a researcher at the organisation Judges Matter. And because Eli, good afternoon to you. This is quite an odd, I mean, it's certainly unprecedented. Our Chief Justice gets ordered to apologise and retract comments, accused of brazen defiance. Do you believe the committee's come to the right decision here?
Well, I think, Stephen, it's not necessarily a question of the right or wrong decision, but it's an important accountability symbol. It's a symbol that the system for disciplining judges is willing to hold even the highest judge to account in terms of the rules that are in place for all judges. So that is an important symbol that we all need to recognize. But secondly, there's also the element of that there is a level of the Judicial Conduct Committee was very careful in the way that they crafted their decision. They explained in great detail, all of 67 pages, why they found the way that they did. Perhaps Chief Justice Mogoeng may feel differently and may want to take it on appeal, but at least he has a solid basis to do so. There is adequate reason why they decided the way they did.
It takes us to quite a difficult area of law, and let me explain what I mean. I mean, he's being ordered to retract a statement of belief. It doesn't change his belief, but he's being ordered to retract his statement of belief. Isn't that quite a difficult thing to do, to say you're not allowed to say what you believe? I mean, I'll be very upset if I were the Chief Justice.
Well, Stephen, judges have some constraints when they accept the position of judicial office. And one of them is that they subject themselves to the Code of Judicial Conduct. And the Code of Judicial Conduct, if we look outside of this context of speech, but judges cannot be members of political parties, for example. That is a right that all of us have as ordinary citizens, but that is a right that judges do not have. And so there are those kinds of limitations in their rights. And so if we look at it that way, this is not actually so strange or out of the ordinary. There are certain by virtue of the position that he's in, there are certain restrictions in what he can and cannot say. Perhaps he could express those views in a private capacity, but and it will be difficult to draw the line when he does become a private citizen. But certainly for the Chief Justice, there are many, many limitations in what he can and cannot say, or what he can and cannot do.
I suppose, in a way, what you're suggesting is that he's not an ordinary South African. He's the Chief Justice.
No, absolutely. That's the responsibility that is placed in his office, and that is the burden that a person in his office has to carry. That you are not an ordinary citizen like Mbegezeli or Stephen. You are the Chief Justice of South Africa. The words that you speak do carry a lot more weight than many other citizens may be. Earlier on, you made an example of the chairperson of the Orlando Pirates Football Club expressing a view in support of Kaizer Chiefs. No member of that club would be happy with that. There will be consequences to his actions. Similarly, the Chief Justice also has certain restrictions in what he can say.
If the Chief Justice refuses to obey this ruling, so not just appeals, but refuses to obey it, I mean, what happens? Does he stay Chief Justice?
Well, if he defies the ruling and it doesn't take it on appeal, then it becomes an elevated act of misconduct. So right now, he is been found guilty of misconduct, which is serious, but not serious enough for him to be impeached. If he were to defy the ruling and the order, then it would be serious misconduct, and he might be impeached and removed from office.
Because, Ellie, I mean, this is not happening in a vacuum. What I'm talking about is a context in which we've seen certain politicians claim without evidence that members of the judiciary have received bribes. The State Security Minister Ayanda Dlodlo went in Parliament this week to say that there was no evidence to say that any of that was true. It seems to me, it seems pretty obvious to me, that some politicians are trying to weaken judges. Now we have a Chief Justice in a situation like this, a finding against him by the Judicial Conduct Committee, unprecedented. Is this going to weaken the judiciary? Is it going to appear divided at a time when it's coming under attack?
I don't think so, Stephen. In fact, this is actually a shot in the arm for the judiciary to say that the system actually works. We have been saying that politicians who have allegations of judges being bribed, they must firstly substantiate those allegations, and they must take them to the relevant authority. And in this case, it is the Judicial Service Commission. And as we've seen in the case of the highest judge in the land, they are willing to hold him accountable. That means we should be confident that for all other judges, they will also take a similar approach. They will try to act swiftly to investigate those complaints and get to the bottom of them and hold those responsible accountable. And so that is an important. This decision is important in that context. And we still maintain that if there are any allegations of judges being bribed, they should be taken to the JCC.
And because Eli Benjamin, a researcher at Judges Matter, really appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed here on News. More to